Have you ever tried to quit a bad habit only to find yourself back at it a week later? You are not alone. In fact, most people fail because they make these 7 mistakes. Let's make sure you don't. Mistake number 1, not identifying the root cause. See, most people try to break a bad habit, but they never stop to ask why. Let's take the example of Tom. Tom finds himself scrolling through his phone every night. Now, most people think, oh, he's just gotta stop scrolling. The question is why is Tom scrolling? If we don't dive deeper and find out that Tom is stressed out at work and he doesn't have really an outlet to try to get rid of that stress, what'll happen is that, yeah, you take away the phone and now he starts binge watching TV, he starts overeating, he starts doing all these things. So it's critical to ask the why. Why are we doing these actions? Why are we participating in these bad habits? Once you identify the root cause, address that, and you can move forward with freedom. Mistake number 2, relying on willpower alone. Willpower is like a battery that gets drained every single day. It gets drained by all the stuff that you have at work. It gets drained whether or not you've been eating well. It gets drained whether or not you've been sleeping well. It gets drained by all the decisions you have to make. And over time, as that continues to drain, your ability to make powerful or empowered decisions decrease, especially in areas where you're already having difficulty. Let me give you a personal example. Willpower. Ice cream is one of those things that I absolutely love. If I have a gallon of ice cream, I will eat it within 1 to 2 days in the house because it's there and I will just eat it. Now, if I don't want to eat ice cream, I don't put that there and then say, hey, you shouldn't eat that. I just don't buy it. If I don't buy it, I don't eat it. And that's really one of the most powerful ways of dealing with willpower. Number 1, trying to completely get rid of the thing that's constantly making you have to feel like you need that willpower behind it. And so don't come from a place of willpower, come from a place of inspiration. Mistake number 3, going too big, too fast. Now, as entrepreneurs, we like to go hard, we like to charge. If a little is good, a lot is better. That's the mindset of many entrepreneurs, and it's one of the things that serves us in many occasions on pushing the boundaries and breaking through barriers where everybody else finished. But when you are trying to break habits, it becomes overwhelming. Because remember that this isn't a goal that you're after very often. This is something that's already ingrained. You've already ingrained this pattern, and now you're trying to break this pattern. And very often when you make too big of a jump, your body overcompensates. Let me give you an example. One of the things that happens, and I see it a lot with clients day in and day out, is they want to get healthy. And they go from doing nothing and then they want to train hard 7 days a week. And one of the biggest things that I'm constantly trying to tell them is, hey, we got to pull back on the reins here. You got to pull back on the reins. You have to allow the body to adapt to this new pattern. Instead of it being a shock, you need it to be an adaptation. Think about it like this. If you've ever gotten a blister, it's because you had too much friction, too fast, creates a blister. If you have enough friction over a big period of time, what happens is you start building a callus. And so when you're talking about too much, too fast, you're essentially building a blister that is gonna pop and it's gonna create delays, right? If you've ever ripped open your hand because you've had a blister, all of a sudden you find, hey, I can't pick things up anymore because it hurts so much. And that's exactly what happens when you're trying to break a habit and you go too much, too fast. It's essentially you make a blister, you rip open the skin, and now you have to take a step back. As opposed to a little at a time, chipping away, you build that callus, and actually now you're stronger in that path. Mistake number 4, not changing the environment. The environment is one of the greatest predictors of success. And if you want to break a bad habit, you need to set the environment up for success. Let me give you an example. If you wanted to start waking up earlier, one of the things that you can start doing is create an environment so that there's the least amount of friction when you get up. So number 1, lay out your clothes the night before. Number 2, know exactly what you're gonna do. Number 3, know where you're gonna do. All of a sudden you've decreased a lot of friction. Now the next thing is you gotta actually get up. So Have you set the room up so that you can listen to the alarm that's gonna make you get up? Have you set the room and the night before so you actually get good, deep sleep? These are all things that it's not just the during, think before, during, and after to optimize environment. When you can optimize environment, you increase your chances of success because now you have everything working towards you to break that habit and start creating new ones. Mistake number 5, beating yourself up when there's a slip up. We are not perfect. We will slip up. When you're trying to do something you've never done, failure or falling short is often part of the journey. So if failure or slipping up all of a sudden makes you crumble, the likelihood of you succeeding decreases. I remember as a kid, whenever I was in a basketball game, it didn't matter if I had a good game, a bad game, we won, we lost, all I can focus on were the little silly mistakes that I made. Instead of the 10 shots I made, I focused on the 1 or 2 that I missed. And it just ate me up. Instead of becoming better as a basketball player, I got worse. And it was because I could not build on my successes because I let my failures burden me and crush my progress. So don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. Mistake number 6, lack of support and accountability. We are human. Humans belong in tribes. We need a group of people to help build us along the way. If you can set up an accountability or a support structure, your chances of success in breaking a habit and succeeding just in general increases exponentially. As an example, we have a group chat amongst friends, and we've all gone through our ups and downs, and it has to do with working out and staying consistent. And when everyone is posting, more of the time everyone stays consistent. And the more people post, even when you don't do what you have to do, it's on the back of your mind. Man, this guy did it, John did it, Abel did it, Caleb did it. All these people did it, and all of a sudden, I don't want to be the only one that didn't follow through with what I said I was going to do. So accountability and support. The other thing that happens with that is, especially if you build a solid group of men, a solid tribe of guys that can hold you to excellence, is if you are struggling, you'll find that they'll call you. Hey, I haven't seen you post. Everything okay? Hey, I noticed you haven't been doing the stuff that you've been doing. What's going on? When you get calls like that, when you get text messages like that, or when you have somebody that knows it's gonna be there and they're gonna be like, hey, I wanna make sure that you're here, let's work out together, let's train together. All of a sudden, when you wake up and you don't feel like it, you're like, man, I'm not gonna let this person down. Because a lot of times, we don't wanna let other people down, but we're willing to let ourselves down. And so the power in having someone else to hold you to the fire, to look up to, is actually a very powerful thing. Don't miss out on the power of accountability and support. Mistake number 7, not replacing the bad habits with an alternative good habit. I had a teacher once share with me that if you left a garden bed open, all that's going to inhabit it are weeds. It's going to completely take over. He said, if you want to protect against the weeds, plant more good seeds. The more good seeds that take up the real estate, the less space there is for weeds. And when there is, they're more interspersed. It's much easier to remove them. Versus if you're like just trying to clear everything out, but you don't plant any good seeds, the weeds just come and they interlock and they become an infestation that actually makes it harder and harder for anything good to grow. So when you're trying to break a bad habit, find a positive alternative that you can fill the garden beds so that the weeds have nowhere to hold on to. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below on one bad habit you're trying to break, and let's maximize the power of public accountability, and let's crush it together. I've been Armando Cruz. Hopefully you've gotten some value from this video and all the videos we have here. If you haven't already checked it out, check out all these other videos that we have for you to maximize your health, maximize your energy, and optimize your impact. Have a great one.